Who's in the better spot going forward? The Houston Astros or the Kansas City Chiefs? Paul, you're talking about two different sports. You're making a cross-sport comparison. Well, yeah, I am. And here's why. They're really similar. First off, look at the Astros. 5 straight American League Championship Series appearances, 3 World Series appearances, 1 World Series victory. The Chiefs, 4 straight AFC Championship appearances, 2 Super Bowl appearances, 1 trophy. This week, Carlos Correa walks from Houston to Minnesota. The Kansas City Chiefs trade Tyreek Hill, and both fan bases acted as if it wasn't that big of a deal and tried to spin job it, which has been kind of funny. No fan base is immune from this. You lose a great player and you're like, yeah, well, he's not going to be that big of a problem. I would say in the case of Carlos Correa with the Astros, I don't know what to expect out of Jeremy Pena. I don't know that it's a massive chasm between the two of them, but it's a significant one, that's for sure. In the case of Tyreek Hill versus whoever's next for him in Kansas City, he is the fastest player in football. We talked about this yesterday. He is a cheat code. You know, there's only a few other players in the league that are anywhere close to Tyreek Hill when it comes to that. And one of them's on his team, Jalen Waddle, now in Miami. But who's in the better spot going forward? You know, the Astros have lost a couple of guys the last few years. Garrett Cole, their pitcher, he goes to the New York Yankees. Not the end of the world. But George Springer, he leaves for the Toronto Blue Jays. Now Correa, he is a member of the Minnesota Twins. And you think to yourself, shit. I mean, this is just the start of things. But then look at Kansas City. I mean, Tyreek Hill leaves. You take a look at the rest of the roster. Tyrann Mathieu still a free agent, and that was a guy that going into last year was thought of as a really good player. But I'm more so based that off of his time in Houston. Frank Clark's overpaid there. Anyone from Seattle, you might remember him with the Seahawks. He has been great in the playoffs occasionally, but not to the degree to which they are paying him. I mean, the Chiefs aren't exactly the most star-studded roster. I guess on the offensive line, yeah, they have Joe Tooney, they got Orlando Brown, but like Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the Chiefs are really just Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. So who's in the better spot going forward? I think it's the Astros. I know it's going to sound like I'm pandering a little bit here, but here's why it's the Astros. First off, the American League West. Okay, the Mariners are better. Can't deny that. If you're an Astros fan, I know you are used to bullying the Mariners. I don't think it's going to be quite so easy going forward. I think the Mariners have had themselves a nice offseason, and having watched them all of the last 2 seasons, I think that they have made a lot of strides, and I also think that there is a toughness to them that not a lot of teams in baseball have. They are a very gritty bunch. They hang on. You saw it the first year back in 2020 during the pandemic. I thought that they were a very scrappy team, all things considered. And then this past season, of course, even though they couldn't score any runs, they were really good. So I feel like they have narrowed the gap. But at the same time, okay, do you ever take the Texas Rangers seriously, even if they spend a whole lot of money? Do you ever take the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim seriously? Yeah, they have Mike Trout, they have Shohei Ohtani, they have stars, but what's that getting them? Congratulations on your MVPs and your wins above replacement. And then you have the A's who just quit. So the AL West and the rest of the American League, that's still, I feel like, pretty firmly in the Astros' control unless the Toronto Blue Jays take it away from them, because the Blue Jays all of a sudden have been aggressive, and I feel like they are the sexiest team to potentially challenge the Astros. And you could say the Red Sox, the Yankees too. I don't know. I don't know about those two, at least as far as this year goes. Like Trevor Story is changing things for Boston. What did New York do this offseason too? So I feel like Houston's in a pretty good space in the American League compared to where the Chiefs are in the AFC. Because just think about all the teams in the conference that are competent. I guess you have to say Miami's competent now that they brought in Tyreek Hill. It's just a matter of what can they do at quarterback. Mac Jones and the Patriots aren't far from the Patriots of old, but they're competent. The Bills are probably the best team in the AFC because the Chiefs got rid of Tyreek Hill. AFC North, I mean, the Browns just got Deshaun Watson. The Steelers will be annoying, but yeah, without Ben Roethlisberger under center, they're definitely taking a step back. This Ravens, I mean, they had so many injuries last year. They were still hanging around towards the end of the season. And of course, you have the Cincinnati Bengals, your defending AFC champions. AFC West, Broncos, Russell Wilson. Raiders, they bring in Chandler Jones, Devontae Adams in one offseason. Chargers, they have Justin Herbert. They brought in J.C. Jackson this offseason. And then AFC South, I think the Colts and the Titans are at the very least somewhat respectable. We'll see how much the Colts are this year. I really don't know what to expect out of Matt Ryan. And the Titans showed that they were pretty tough last year considering all the things that they went through. So, I mean, night and day as far as competition goes between the two. So the Astros are set up pretty good going forward from that perspective. And then take a look at something else. You know, one of the advantageous things for baseball and teams like the Astros is arbitration and being able to have players under team control for a very long period of time. Because I'm looking at Astros contracts right now. I guess the person that you're most concerned about as far as the immediate future is Yuli Gurriel, who's going to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of this coming season. But you got Bregman locked up. You got Lance McCullers locked up. You got Verlander for another year, assuming he is still good. You have Jose Altuve locked up. Michael Brantley will be a free agent too, but he's 35 years old. I don't think it's the end of the world if you see him walk. Ryan Presley too. But, I mean, your big pieces, your future, or your Alvarez, who's not going to be a free agent thanks to arbitration until 2026. You also have, in the case of, and I don't even know why he's not showing up all of a sudden because I'm looking at the contracts. Kyle Tucker, same thing, 2026. I mean, you got star players locked up for a while here, and you got good players, and you have, I just think, way more star power than the Kansas City Chiefs have. You look at the Chiefs going forward, okay, I mean, you got Patrick Mahomes until the end of time, but you have Travis Kelce until 2026. Assuming he's able to stay at the same level. But again, we're talking about a guy playing a violent position. Is he going to be able to keep it up for all this time? And then a wide receiver, Juju Smith-Schuster, who you signed to a 1 year, $2 million, almost $3 million deal. And you brought in Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Okay. Orlando Brown Jr. is, by the way, a free agent at the end of this season, which is, I think, the fifth-year option. No, hang on. It's not the fifth-year option. He got the franchise tag this year. Chris Jones is going to be a free agent not too far away. I mean, you're paying in 2023, Frank Clark, who I imagine will be cut after this coming season, you're theoretically paying Chris Jones $30 million almost and Frank Clark $30 million almost. So not just from a, hey, who do they have to compete with perspective, but also from a, how can you keep this all together perspective. I feel like the Astros have the leg up on the Chiefs.